Remember that record that you bought me like 2 years ago? Well, I just remembered that it's sitting in the closet. So I called you up just to tell you I've been meaning to listen to that. I've been meaning to listen to that. Why don't you come over and talk about it? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Why don't you come over and talk about it?
But hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to I've Been Mean to Listen to That, the podcast where we go through albums we've been mean to listen to and use it. Wait, what the fuck? I was like, oh, welcome to I've Been Mean to Listen to That, the podcast where we go through albums we've been mean to listen to and use that as content to learn about each other and our guests. I'm Andrew Ambrose Lee.
I'm John Butts.
And we got an incredible guest. He's an up-and-coming actor and performer. It's Ben Izlar Jr., everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Everyone's clapping. I'll give everybody time to clap.
Coming to a theater near you.
It's like it's like in Hamilton, like they're doing the Hamilton standing ovation where
Yes.
Alexander Ben Izlar Jr. And it's like
I'm taking it in. Yes. Hello.
I just we were looking for a guest for this JID album. We were looking for a guest to talk about God Does Like Ugly, and I really there are people I could ask. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you want someone something like this. You want someone who really cares about this artist. You want someone who could really advocate for what they represent. And I saw I looked through JID's who's following JID, and I saw that you were following JID.
Oh, sure.
So I just said, what are your thoughts on JID? And you said JID is one of your favorites. So I want to hear your perspective on that. Why? What's your relationship to JID? Is he your favorite? Why is he your favorite? All that.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That was a good, because I was wondering. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder why he picked me to talk about the JID album specifically. But and so I was like, it must just be because we talked about wanting to do this podcast. And that was the next thing that they were going to talk about. But that's smart. That's so great. Yeah, I love JID's music. Particularly because so I'm a huge rap fan in general, but I also have ADHD, and as I've gotten older, I realized that I actually lean more to just being able to put something on that I can just kind of do whatever to drive or, clean the house or do dishes or whatever. And that typically now has been leaning more towards R&B, pop, that kind of stuff. So something that is catchy enough to I'm not going to know all the lyrics because I also listen to so much music. So whereas when I was a kid and you have an iPod, you can only fit so much music on an iPod, right? So you end up knowing all the words to all these songs because you think that 1,000 songs is a lot, but it's not. And so you listen to kind of the same stuff over and over again and you get to know it. And then we got into streaming, and then I started to know less songs. And I started to be like, oh yeah, I love this song. But then it would come on and I'm like, I don't know any of the lyrics to this song. And so as much as I love rap, it became harder to constantly listen to rap because it is so much about the lyrics. That's all it's about is you can have a catchy chorus, but the song is about the lyrics when it comes to rap. And JID is one of those people who kind of broke through that, where I can listen to JID at any time and still not fully catch everything that he's saying, but because I'm listening to it so much, I get more of appreciation for him. And I think that he is one of the best rappers that we currently have. So it also is really cool because he's a really good rapper. Whereas there are a lot of rappers that I'll listen to who I'm like, it's a lot of fun to listen to this rapper, but they're not necessarily a good rapper. They just have very catchy songs and good music. Where JID is a phenomenal lyricist and a really good rapper. And I'm trying to think if I feel like my introduction to JID was he was a feature on someone's song. Can't remember whose. But then, all of the Earth Gang stuff. was being done. And so honestly, that was probably one of the features. I probably heard him off of like a J. Cole, like Earth Gang collab or something like that. And there's so many rappers and people in that like group of people that it was very easy to be like, okay, in this like next song, this one's a wash. Like, you know what I mean? Though I love Earth Gang, but like it's I can't always listen to Earth Gang. And then but I remember hearing Jid's like voice, which is a draw for me because I used to love Lil Wayne when I was a kid. So like just like the tone of Jid's voice,
Or
especially on
like
a feature,
nasally, like
yeah,
placement. Yeah.
really pulls me in. And then also he's an incredible lyricist. So I'm like, oh, out of all the groups of people that's on this, like this boy can rap. Like he's rapping. And then he just started to kind of pop up everywhere. I love Arcane. He did that there, the theme song with Imagine Dragons for
Oh.
Arcane. And this is how you also really know that he's a really good rapper. My girlfriend, who is not into rap, like almost knows some of his bars from that. And Jid's a fast rapper. Like it's hard
Mhm.
to know a lot of, and she like loves that song, and she like sometimes raps a little bit along with the Jid part, and I'm like, yeah, nah, that's
It's
my
that guy.
that's like this guy's up there. So I think right now in the game of rap, like I think he's like top five.
Wow, I was literally gonna ask you that. Like,
Yeah,
so
I think he's top five. I think it's like Jid, Kendrick. I think Eminem's always going to be in my top five, and so will probably Kendrick, to be honest with you, because just everything that they next drop, even the stuff that's like not as popular. Like I know M's not last album, but album before, and honestly, maybe last album like maybe wasn't as popular for a lot of people, but like he still
he's still
it
good.
holds it down
Yeah.
lyrically. Like you know what I mean, and then he always will be really good. And so honestly, it's like I think it's
Who are the other
like
two?
Kendrick in no specific order. It's like Kendrick, M, Joyner Lucas,
Wow.
Jid, and yeah, and I don't know that fifth spot really changes around a lot. I can't think of who my fifth spot is right now just because I've
Sounds
been
like you
listening to
like
so
your
much more R&B.
spitters, like your
But yeah,
guys that just like can
yeah.
deliver
Yeah,
some
it's
bars.
spitter between being a really good rapper and also having catchy enough music for me to pick on. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of spitters that I really do like as well that I don't really listen to all their music like that.
Got you.
They're really, really good lyricists. And I appreciate that. I love for that. But these days again, like the ADHD really started to get heavier as I got older. And so it's hard for me to like sit down and listen to a 6 minute song where it's like no chorus and this dude is like giving me like every like metaphor and synonym and then I'm like whoa, this is nasty. It probably won't go into my rotation of stuff when I'm like at the gym. Like
Mhm.
so but those are at least top four for sure, and Jid's amongst them. And I really what really made me a fan because I liked the first album that I heard by him a lot, but I loved the last album. So when this one was coming out, I was like, gotta listen to it.
Yeah, yeah. Also, like, just one observation of your like list is like M and Jid, yes, they're spitters, but they have like a melodic quality to them too. Like they know
Yes.
how to make songs. They
Yes.
know how to rap and they know how to make songs, and those are two different skills. Like I think
Yeah.
all the like imitators, they don't know how to make songs. They know how to
Right.
like rap fast and go
I'd agree with you.
like
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
and
Looking
like
at
Yeah,
you,
I'd agree with
token.
you on that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, just so
yeah.
funny to have in any other like thing. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I think it's like, oh, okay, well, it's clear that we can tell like who you studied, but it's who you studied in order to learn how to rap. It's not who you studied in order to learn how to make music. And I
Mhm.
think that's like super, super important.
I think that
Um,
point is like what makes Jid so captivating. Just
yeah,
like the layers and layers of influence that he's used as his raw material to craft his own artistry. It's like it's littered all across this album. God does like ugly, and like anytime that surfaces or I can kind of pinpoint the origins of that flow or something like that is just that much more sweeter because he's so good himself. It's
Mhm.
just
yeah,
like, ooh, yes, a little ear candy of
yeah,
Andre right here or
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Big
yeah,
Boy
yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's so good.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about this album though. Let's talk about God Does Like Ugly. Yeah, let's talk. I guess like we could, because we talked last week about like 2 weeks ago, me and John and Stenley about like our relationship to JID. Basically for me, uh, I was always impressed by him. I hesitated to call Forever Story a classic, even though it is so
Mm,
impressive. It's so
mhm.
excellent. I can't. I would be a fool if I denied its excellence and the talent
Sure.
and like the depth it provided. Just like the challenge for me was the density and like it was what you were complaining about with your some other people of like I have
Mhm,
ADHD, like these are very dense verses, there's a lot being
mhm.
said, he's going so fast, I can't catch everything and I don't have the time to catch everything.
Right.
So like but yeah, Cody Blue 31, classic song, like one of like the great hip hop songs ever. Like just like one of
Yeah.
the great. I think he may be one of the best like rappers that can sing. Like there's like
Yeah.
Donald Glover, but
Definitely.
that's
Sure. Sure.
cheating. That's cheating. Like I
Sure.
don't think
Sure. Sure.
he doesn't count. Like Chance is getting a little better at his craft. He's getting a little
Yep.
better at
Yeah.
that.
I'm glad
Uh
that we can all agree that like a chance we wish that Chance wouldn't be singing, but also I'll allow it. Like yeah, as good as
yeah,
sounds like
like
you're
the
like yeah.
best like Lil Wayne, no. Kanye,
No, yeah.
no. Yeah, it's just
No.
like no thanks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
but yeah, like there's like uh so yeah, I think and I was kind of looking at this album through the context of, the great battle of 2024 of like the great rap battle, like the Shakespearean shakedown as Justin Hunt likes to call it, of Kendrick versus Drake. And then like
Mhm.
kind of the shift of because Kendrick won that battle, a lot of like hip hop commentators were talking about like this shift that's happening like spiritually and like in
Mhm.
the genre of hip hop, like what is the focus of it all? And I think we were, I think a lot of like hip hop commentators were kind of putting this like, okay, let's see if Clips hits. Let's see if this, and let's see if this hits. Let's see
Right,
if
right.
these two, this will show that there's a shift happening. If
Yeah.
not, then maybe Drake is still like on top, but just like
Sure.
down for the count right now. And like I was saying, I was like struggling with calling Forever Story a classic. I was struggling putting him in like the top five spot, even though or the next up, not even top five, just
Sure.
like the
Sure.
next up, like the
Interesting.
next generation slot, like
Yeah.
of the greats. Because and I was like, but this album, and when I listened to this album first, I was like, I was really locking into like the first seven songs, and then
Sure.
it got a little like long in the tooth. It got a little bit of
Sure.
an
Sure.
endurance test. But then, like as I like been consuming this album, I've been engaging with this album all week and like wrestling with like what it's trying to say and stuff. I think this album really changed my mind. Like this really changed my mind of like
Wow.
this is. I think he's like certainly top three of 2025. Certainly top
Sure.
three of 2025. Certainly top three of Atlanta. Like certainly top three. Like and like
Definitely.
yeah. And then like this conversation about like this shift and like um this conversation about sales. Like what if like so if this album becomes like a mainstream hit, like Kendrick's album became a mainstream
Hmm.
hit, this will showcase like a shift. But I think in the first line, he's like, people like talk about record sales like they records execs
Hmm.
themselves. And that like changed my mind. I'm like, oh, like why am I letting sales
Yeah.
dictate my enjoyment and like what this is doing? Like this is like, and that's the shift. That's the
Yeah.
shift of just like a focus on like and it's just also the fact that like in America today, I'm talking a lot, like in America today, like maybe it's harder for like an incredibly talented like rap artist to become like a rap superstar in that same
Sure.
way because of how America has changed the last like
Sure.
20
Yeah.
years. Streaming has like changed everything and
Yeah.
like 1,000 streams equals one sale. Like that's like th-
Yeah.
I haven't listened to like my favorite albums that many times, like I
That's
Sure.
real.
perhaps
Right. Right.
not.
Right.
Yeah.
No, again, yeah, because you guys like with because of streaming, you know what I mean? Like in that same vein, it's like, oh, it's made it harder to really make money off of that. But then also, you have access to now everything. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to listen to the whole thing once. I'll add it to like my liked playlist of like, or my library of music. And then I'm going to put my library on shuffle. So
Right.
like, unless it is really something that's like, oh yeah, I'm playing this over and over. And like, because of this podcast, I've given this album like 4 listens. So you know what I mean? So that's been good.
You
But
giving him like
yeah.
a
So
quarter
yeah.
of a cent. Like, good job,
Yeah.
buddy. Like,
But
really
that's actually
supporting your
so
artist.
it's so funny that you talk about that bar that he said, because what's so interesting is I never think about like album sales as far as it being like successful or anything like that. And again, and I don't talk about music professionally in any sense. So I don't think about that as much, but it's really interesting that you say that, because I was like, oh yeah, like because when he said it, even I was like, oh sure, like I'm sure that really does happen. There's never been anything in my like a contender in my conversations. And I think streaming has also been a big part of that, because I don't, I think about if there's like a way that people are trying to make money off of music, it's the tours, like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like
In the
selling the merch
butts in
on
the
the
seats.
tours. Yeah, exactly. Which even that in itself is like a trap, and not as glamorous as it seems either, because it's like I remember John Bellion doing his like new stuff right now. Um, he who I don't know if you're super familiar with him, but just a quick breakdown, like the man stepped away from music for 6 years, and then just released this most recent album. And it was because he like had to get away from his like record label, and he, in being very honest and like making his own new stuff, was very honest about like what being on tour is like and what that means to like go. You've got these stadiums that the studio give you like an advance for, to be able to put on these shows, and then all that is like it's covering the seats, right? So if you don't sell out the stadium, they may not get like their money back for that, and then you are on the hook for like you owe that. And so you don't make money from doing a stadium, so it's like tour. You make the money from like selling the merch at the at the spot. And
Sheesh.
so because nobody's, it's not from album sales anymore. Nobody's buying the album sales.
Right.
So now these people have to do other stuff, like write music for other people, and do ads, and
And I
all
feel
this
like
other
that's
stuff to
what
try to make
JID
money.
was saying in his interviews in this cycle. He's like, butts and seats. We just want to
Yeah.
sell them tickets. We want y'all to come to the show because, there is all of this red tape and stuff that has been implemented over the
Yeah.
past decade, post streaming that doesn't serve the artist. And it's like, before when you buy a CD, it's like you got one CD player. So you're spinning that motherfucker.
Right. Right.
Whereas now you kind of have to, at least if you are that active about it, put your own guardrails up. Like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'll put this album on repeat, or maybe I'll put a few new albums on a playlist and put that
Right.
playlist on repeat. But it's so easy to just be like, oh, new release, play, okay,
Yeah.
next, just swipe,
Yeah.
swipe, swipe between albums and artists, and it becomes a
Yeah.
little disposable in a way that's just unfortunate.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Like, if it wasn't for this show, perhaps that would have happened with this album. Perhaps I
Sure.
wouldn't have enjoyed what he has to say as much. If I just like,
Yeah.
oh, I like the first 7 songs and then the rest I was bored.
Yeah.
It's like that's how people like, but it's
even
like
for me even
it,
for me, somebody who listened to it the first time and was like, oh my gosh, can't believe it, this is so rare. For me, there were no skips, like, you know what I mean? Even for me, who was just be like, all right, I'm gonna go listen to it another time to make sure I was right about that, and I'm just gonna add the whole album to my list of music. But like there were 4 other albums that came out like in the next couple of days with
Yeah, it
artists
was
yeah.
a
that I listened
stacked
to.
August, to
Bigger
be
one, yeah.
fair.
It's a what? It's just a month, like you know what I mean, like crazy. And so I listened to that album first because I knew I was doing this, and then I went and listened to other albums. And it wasn't until I finished those that I was like, all right, cool. Now I'll go back and really dive into this one. So yeah, even for me, someone who, as far as rappers go, he's in my top 5. Like,
Yeah.
so
And then your job, and then your family, and then like,
yeah,
The
like,
hustle, the
yeah, it's just
grind.
yeah,
like, it's hard. It's like it's so America's broken. So America's broken.
Oh
The
yeah, America's broken and
music.
capitalism has ruined
Art
art.
is dying.
Capitalism has ruined art, and I will say that about every medium of art.
And I'm
That's
looking
like my
at you,
first stance
11
on it all.
Labs.
Yeah, yeah. No, capitalism has ruined art, and it's unfortunate, but it's really nice that at least people are still making the music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and this is like, yeah. I guess let's talk about like this album, like kind of like more thematically, I guess. What did you let's start with John. What did you take away from this album as a macro picture?
Macro picture. God does like ugly. The ugly is in all of us. So like the acts that we commit, whether that be our, misinformed beliefs or like the lack of antagonizing our day to day and trying to like write new scripts, it's kind of like up to us to overcome the ugliness that we carry. And I feel like for in JID's case, it's like salvation, right? Like that's how you overcome that is by faith. But there's also this like simultaneous knowing that it's a human condition, therefore we don't have to be ashamed of it. We just have to try to like find our way through our sort of muddied spiritual path, so to speak. Yeah, that's kind of my like soft read on the entire album because I feel like most of the songs are just very rooted in his like day-to-day experience or memories or stories or anecdotes from folks close in his life. So it's really just like taking that title and just like finding those little nuggets that he drops within the like in-betweens of these lines. But yeah, it really is like this just like ugliness. We all carry it. We're all spiritual beings, but in order to transcend the ugliness, we have to like actively pursue that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I
Maybe
like.
not.
I think yeah, like there's personal ugliness, like just like kind of like you're I think he's trying to aspire to be spiritual, but still wrestles with like feelings of perhaps like righteous indignation or like wrath, revenge, or like lust. He has a lot of lust in this album. He's trying to be holy. He's trying to like be above it all, but he can't help himself sometimes. But I think it's like in the context of like America today, like there's a line that I really love in G's where he's like, "I'm starting to think that Martin was wrong, Malcolm was right." That line, that line's fascinating in the terms of the spiritual, like the Christian perspective, because Martin was doing Jesus's teachings. He was maybe the one guy who was able to like actually follow Jesus' teaching of turning the other cheek, of the civil rights movement, like nonviolence. Just like I think the purpose of that is to highlight the shame of your aggressors and abusers' actions so that the people watching will go, whoa, like this is not right. We have to make a change. Like, but then James Baldwin, he's all like, that only works if your abuser or your oppressor has shame. They don't,
sure,
So
Right, right.
it's just like, so if that doesn't work, then maybe Jesus was wrong. Like maybe this, like, so maybe we just have to like kind of grab our pitchforks and like just like force change to happen
yeah.
and such. So it's like I think there's. Let me step back. Let me step back a little bit. But like that's like an idea here, and it's also just like this idea. Like I think he says in an interview, like he got the towel from his grandmother. His grandmother was probably like watching TV and was seeing something on the news, and she was like,
Yeah.
God, whoa,
Oh,
it
God
seems
does
like
like
God
you.
does like so like
Yeah.
she was probably seeing something like fucked up and then
Right.
like, oh, I guess God allows this to
Right.
happen.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's like I think it's partly in response to that. And it's also like it seems to be in response to like the album is bookended with his brother going to jail. His one of his brothers going to jail like again. He was out of jail and now he's back in jail. And then the end of the album is like his child, like he reveals. Talk about a surprise guest feature. Like his child shows up, and he reveals he's a father. So like those are two life altering things. And like he's also said that like in the last like 3 years since the Forever Story, like 8 of his friends have died. And that's just like really serious, like awful, like just like
Yeah.
life alter. Yeah, and like that plays into John's thesis of like it's about him living, it's about him just like the day to day of
Yeah.
like and the struggle of that having that weight upon you.
Yeah, he's always I mean even in, there's like a couple of I remember so vividly and specifically. First of all, Dance Now is one of my favorite songs, just like of it's like one of my just
That two
all-time favorite
step up,
songs.
man.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
that, that
yeah, dude,
pants.
that dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the
Yeah,
whip.
but there's a story that he tells on that album, and it might even be in that song at the end of that song where he's like telling the story about the time that he was like at the club with his sister and
Mm,
some friends or whatever, and they got into that fight
the crack
outside and that
sandwich.
whole thing, which is like yeah, yeah, just like a crazy and so he's always been like very good at creating a narrative in a lot of these songs to help that, not just a narrative but a narrative that you're like kind of fully pulled into to like understand the story of what's happening and like what his experience as someone growing up in Atlanta is like, and that it's like not glamorous, like, you know what I mean, like, and a lot of rappers do that. A lot of rappers some rappers rap about where they have come from and how that's not glamorous, and this is their outlet, and some rappers make it up, like, you know what I mean, like, because that's where a lot of it started. But there's always been an interesting juxtaposition to me between secular rappers and Christianity. Um, when it comes to like because like you couldn't play this album in a church, like certainly not, like, you know what I mean, and yet it is like listening to a sermon. I mean, there are literally pieces of sermon dropped in there, but the entirety of the album to me felt like a service. Like it felt like
Definitely.
this is JID's church service. Like, you know what I mean? All the way through, that felt like the overarching theme, which, is not necessarily like hidden or something that you have to be super like profound to find, but that's what it felt like for me, is like listening to JID's church service. We're going all the way through it, and there are like little moments where it's like, yeah, he's like talking about how like, he's made it this far because like God has helped him through it and God's got his back and he believes in God, and that's been a constant theme with JID's music. But like on the same bookend, he's like, when they broke into my car, the only thing they took, they took a couple of things. It's like,
Some
ah, dang,
blunt
they also got
spray.
my gun. Like, yeah, he was like, they got that blunt spray. He was like, that's weird. He's like, ah, damn, they did take the tool. Like, you know what I mean? And like, he's always, it's like one thing about JID that you could probably expect if you meet him in his real life is like he's probably carrying based off of like the, you know what I mean? And so it's like, and he's not afraid to use it. And like, a lot of his partners have used it. And like, you know what I mean? He's just in a place where, this, everybody else is claiming that he's probably too thugged out. And like, is that a system issue, or is that an issue that like, he really did have to grow up to be that way in order to protect himself? And there's like cursing in it or whatever, or there'll be like a feature like God. We'll talk about later like the ups and downs, like the stuff we loved and didn't super love, but like one of my least favorite parts of the album is West Side Gun in general. Just like it's
Oh
What?
just like
no.
I know, and I know that's like that's probably a controversial thing to say. But
My
like
bitch ugly.
yeah, but like I'm like, what, brother? What? Like what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, and I know what it is. Like I understand the culture. I listen to rap, but it's just like I don't know. We go from that into this like
Into
I don't know.
glory. It's I don't
It's
know.
just
It's
and so there's always that kind of juxtaposition of like, I'm a follower of Christ and I love God and like all of that, and but also like this is, I'm bringing the streets with me into the booth, which may feel contradictory a lot. And I, like, I come from a place where I'm like, hey, like, your journey is your journey, like, your walk with God is your walk with God. You believe in him, that's the most important part. That's what they taught me. But it's also interesting because, like, I just wonder what, someone who, may not know about either side or has an opinion about like one thing or the other thinks about like the mix of the two. And so while it's like, the theme of God does like ugly is so interesting. For the intro to that being like West Side Gun, I just was like, yeah, I'm getting sucked
The
by the
ugliest
Eiffel.
opening
Like,
ever.
I slap you on the way to church. I hope you make it to church on time. like, bro,
He's
I
helping. He's
loved
helping you
every
make it to
part of it.
church.
He's helping. Yeah, I liked every part of this album. That was my least
I
favorite.
I like if you want to talk about him, like I think that's the Kanye influence on this album and like hit
Yeah,
like just like the post Kanye era we're living in of just like the profound and the profane like literally being next to each other and like
yeah,
the humanity of just like being conscious of like radical ideas and like
yeah,
still wanting to like indulge in like sinful behavior and such and
yeah,
like I and like the art of that choir in the middle of You Ugly is very
Hmm.
Twisted Fantasy. It's very
hmm
Donda. And then the end is very like College Dropout-y. Like the end is very like so like it's there's that. Like it's
In his first line, he's like, "Welcome to the depths of hell." Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Right,
feel like
yeah.
West Side Gun is doing the table setting for that first
No,
line.
certainly true. Certainly true.
and
Certainly true.
and what like
It's
what
just like,
better
what do you mean you'll be ugly? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean that I don't know what you're talking about. West
I don't know
Side
why
Gun.
he's braggy about it though. Like just
That's what I,
like
and like, what do you, because like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean?
I took it
I
as a
don't think,
synonym for grimy, not
uh
necessarily like
nah,
visually
I don't
ugly.
know, bro. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem as I don't know.
We don't know
Because he
what
doesn't
number
talk
in
about
line
other
she
things that
is.
are ugly in a way that's like, because like a God does like ugly can be in a way where it's like, oh, he is allowing this, like, this stuff to happen that's bad, but it also, to me, was also kind of a like, I'm not perfect, God still loves me type situation. I think it can be seen as both. And so especially after like hearing him rap in the same song. And so it's just like, hey man, I don't know if you understood the prompt or not. And if you did, and if this wasn't a prompt, maybe I didn't get it, but like, I don't know. It's just like, as fun as West Side Gun is, like, if I were to make an album, I'm gonna leave him off of the intro, I think.
Dang.
It's
wow.
just it's
I like that
personal
New York
preference.
City, Atlanta, New York connect, man. We
It's
gotta
fun,
link
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
No, no, and
respect
I
it.
have
I
an
respect
appreciation
it,
for West
man.
Side Gun for sure, but I just didn't like, he was my least favorite part of this album.
I I guess like another theme though is like I guess I got two more is um using spirituality as a salve to capitalist ideas surrounding Christianity and surrounding human life and justice. Like if you like I just like I'm learning about this more of just like the relationship to Christianity and um like right wing identity politics and like how like what do you mean you believe in Jesus and like you're against like student loan forgiveness? Like isn't forgiveness your whole
Yeah.
thing? Like first of all just like and just like it's
No,
Give us you're sick, you're tired, you're
no one in the
poor.
sun. Yeah.
yeah
I think
yeah
debtors fall into that. You know
and
what I mean?
and then like the line on his third strike and if he served life then crackers probably be like serves you
Probably
right
serve you right.
like the in Matthew 18:21 he says like how often should I forgive my brother who sinned against me seven times then Jesus said I say to you I say not until seven times but until 70 times seven
70
times yeah
times
yeah
seven.
so like
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
three strikes like that's not even seven like it's
Yeah.
just like and like it's
Yeah.
just the way it's yeah so like it's kind of like reframing how I think he's swearing and stuff, and like it does say don't use the Lord's name in vain and whatnot. But it's really
Yeah, that's a weird that like interpretation of that idea has been disconstrued. So it's not that, but yeah, it's like, hey, if you're like, could I play this in? I think about it like, okay, would I play this in like Sunday school? You know what I mean? As interpretation, and that's not to say that like he's not a Christian or like doesn't love God in the same. It's just like his journey and walk is obviously like pretty different from like what even like a pastor that he would have would say something, especially in the black church, and yet it doesn't neglect his journey in the same way that like because we can look at the exact same thing like conservative Christian and be like, hey, that actually doesn't line up with the thing that you believe. You're twisting the thing to make it fit what you believe. So like,
right.
what do you mean by that? I would say that Jid's more authentic, would be a more authentic Christian to the person who would say that he wouldn't be than they would be. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like kind of a reframing of what are spiritual Christian values. And then finally, I guess like competition and collaboration is a big theme of this album. Like the way he uses collaborators. Like I feel like we're having this conversation of like people are having this conversation of is JID in top five? Is JID the next up guy? What's more hip hop than inviting the Clips on, like to compete with them? The guy who has the people who have the top album of 2025 in like the hip hop genre. What's more hip hop than inviting them on? Like, and what's a bigger flex than having them fuck with you? What's a bigger flex than like having the Clips like Malice with his unflappable, no bullshit attitude, like respect you, and like the way they are competing on that song community, but they're also helping each other paint this portrait of a broken community, like a broken neighborhood, the black plight, all that stuff is so he's kind of like doing. We complained about J. Cole how he like kind of goes in and out of the competition too many times of just like he keeps saying like we're all kings and then like I want the crown, but like this is the one where this album he's doing both successfully. He's saying we're all like they're all kings and then like but I'm also like I'm competing like I am inviting you on my song. If we're not having a real problem, I'm inviting you on my song to compete with you. And he holds up. He like the Bob the Builder line's the most meme thing in this album.
Oh
like,
my gosh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, and like, I love a lot of Jid's um I guess like not like metaphors, but like the symbol, like the real rap, for lack of better words, like the caviar, like kind of rap bars like that, because they're always like so not what most rappers would use as their like comparison or use, like you know what I mean, like because like in connection to like them saying that we're not in the building, like you know what I mean. It's like I think there was a couple of others that I was like he said something about what he said a bar, he was talking about like Raphael when he
if you
caught in
catch
the
a shell,
shell,
yeah.
like and I was like, yeah, sure, like
Yeah.
that's out of there, like the Emma Stone behind the mic in comparison to like being a pale
Pale
comparison,
compared.
like I
Yeah.
was like, brother, what, like
I'll
what
let
a
the K-pop
pull.
know Blackpink. I
Yeah,
love that bar too.
brother, what a pull. Like the and those like the bars that I remember every time that I listen to the album, even if I don't catch everything as a person with ADHD, like the
Mhm.
stuff that pulls me back into the song. Every
Yeah,
time I
yeah.
listen to it, it's like those little very catchy things. But like, and he does that a lot where I'm like, yeah, this is like Jit's style. Like, where like Drake, same thing, like Drake has old memeable ways that he raps where it's like you could pretend to be Drake, be really deep with your like, bar in comparison to people like, yeah, that's you're doing a Drake bit or like a Wayne bit or something like that. And so that was so fun. But I also thought it was really fun when like the first line we hear from Clips is like, I don't really care about no industry beef. And I'm like, That's so funny because Push famously just all of that, all of those diss tracks for like Push famously will easily hop on a diss track to diss somebody. What do you mean you don't care about industry beef? Like what do you mean? That's your partner. What you mean? But then Push was like, that's not what I said. I want to talk about how I brought white into the hood, how why I have my name every time that he'll get the chance. He wants to remind you about why they call him Pusha.
And we
And
gentrified.
yeah, and I was like, that's a bar, but it is 2025 and it's wild that we like I can't tell if you're like this is just my history or I'm bragging about like pushing like bringing cocaine into my community. Like I'm like this is hey, we know that this isn't good, right? Like we doesn't matter what a lyricist that man is. I love King Push. If you ever listen, I love your music. I just think that it's probably time out
Time out.
for the drug talk in the positive light. And
He'll just do another
uh,
tiny desk where he's like staring you directly in the
yeah,
face.
yeah,
Like,
directly. He's like, and I want to talk to Ben specifically from the podcast. Like, like, all right, well, whoopsie.
So like I guess like Ben, like what is a highlight song that you want to like kind of triangulate on and talk about?
Yeah, good question. Let's see, because it's like narrowing down on one.
Because we'll talk about like we'll eventually talk about
Yeah,
most of the songs, but like yeah.
yeah.
it's
What's one of
hard.
the Community made a pretty big impact, but I also really liked VCRs.
Mm.
So maybe I don't know. Between VCRs and What We On, probably one of those. So they'll do like rock paper scissors between maybe What We On. I liked What We On a lot. I think Jid's a fun like singer rapper. And I love Don Toliver too and What We On. But it's also one of those ones where I was like, I'm glad they put the lyrics on here because third time listening through, I need to read the lyrics as I'm
Lots of vocal production on that one.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no,
Yeah,
super smooth track and like
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like from my point of view, Don Toliver doesn't miss. Like I don't personally listen to a
Sure.
lot of his solo work, but any track he's just like floating, skating, just like making the best choices and just like such a pristine voice that just has like an edge to it that is just so rewarding to listen to and enjoyable. Like doesn't have any diminishing returns really.
I did like that song. I didn't like What We On, like
You say you
personally.
didn't
I
like it?
didn't like it. I thought
Okay,
it was
okay.
just like it kind of like just ground the album to a halt, and then like afterwards it felt like more of
Mm,
a mixed. I felt more so it felt like a just like seven masterpiece songs in a row, and then this is the song
mm,
where it's like this is less good, and like this is an indication that it's going to be a little less consistent for me. I guess it's
mhm.
like what's and then just like it's just so slow, like and he kind of speeds up a little bit in the middle, but I just like that's not what I go to JID for per se. So yeah.
Sure, that actually makes sense. Like I get if you're like, and I'm expecting a Jid album. What We On isn't the song I would show someone to be like, this is
This is
Jid.
who he is.
I
Yeah.
do think that's maybe why I liked it so
Sure.
much. Like, you know what I mean? And I like Jid's music. Again, like to me, the album as a whole was like a no scope album. But I think the departure, the way to step into that kind of song and in my opinion do it successfully was a bit of a surprise for me. So I think that's why like I liked it
Mm.
so much and I could
Mm.
play it if I'm like not in the mood for like all of the rap, I could play it in a mix of other songs that I just kind of want to hear and vibe to, um, as opposed to like one of the others,
Mm.
where it isn't so much that. So
Yeah, definitely like I don't know. I don't know. I've been evoking the JID album covers a lot, I guess,
yeah.
more rather compared to other artists, but I feel like this does kind of lend itself to like that kind of lustful psychedelia that you kind of
Yeah.
is on the cover a little bit. Yeah, just
Mm.
like a little trippy and hypnotic. So I kind of
Yeah.
like in that sense, it feels appropriate. even if it is a little slower. I get what you mean too, Andrew. I wouldn't put
Truly.
it as like a highlight for me, but it's not one that I don't enjoy when I kind of narrow in on what's happening on the song.
Yeah.
Because
So
just like, I feel like Don Tolliver's got some different vocal choices and
Hmm.
levels of delivery. And yeah, there's lots of layers to just like the textures on that song. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it for that at the very least.
what about you, John? Like, what's a highlight song for you?
I like I okay. I'm gonna say a disclaimer and say I love some rapidy rap, but the highlight that I'm coming to this record with is wholeheartedly.
This is a great song.
I love. Oh my god, it's
I,
smooth ass
yeah.
fucking nodders. It's like we talked about it at the top of the episode and on the last JID episode, but he's not like that singer. But he is smooth when he gets
Hmm.
into it. You like forgive it immediately. I love, or it's kind of a new genre that I feel like I'm discovering that I like. It's like ballads about the bros. Like there's something about like camaraderie and like the ability to put the mask of masculinity down and just be like,
Yeah.
I love you, dude, or like I hope
Yeah.
you don't switch up on me because we're buds or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's and the construction of it too. You can tell I've thought about this song a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of, I don't know, like Ben, it sounds like you've been in theater. I don't know what sorts of theater, but it sounds like maybe like if you've ever been in a like freestyle circle or
Sure. Yeah.
like a cipher and
Cypher.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
somebody's like setting up the kind of like the hook part of it and then
Yeah.
someone gets their like verse to freestyle. I just kind of like the way that it kind of oscillates
Yeah.
between the different artists and then you have that layer of the folks just singing that like in the back. It
Yeah.
just sounds so good. Trust me. Reminds me of the 90s R&B. I'm rambling.
Yeah.
It's so good. I don't know. At first I thought it was a drag. I'm
Like I
yapping.
said,
I know I'm yapping.
I love a black feature. Like I love a black. First of all, Black to me is one of those artists that like he doesn't miss. Like you know what I mean. And I love a black feature. So when he kind of sets the song off, and first of all, I was like when it first came on, I was like, this is black. I think this is, and I had to look to see who was featured because I was in a car and all I could see was Ty Dolla Sign. So I was like, I know JID not singing this well. Like, and I was like, this is black. This is black. I haven't heard like Black's been like off being a father. Like, you know what I mean? I haven't heard music from him in a minute. So it's always really nice hearing Black's voice come up. And then I also love a Ty Dolla Sign song as well. So it's just a good mix for me. And then it being good was like, yeah, I love no, I
I'm
get it. I
I'm
get
always
exactly how you
like
feel.
hit or miss with Ty, but I honestly might put this at, and it might be recency bias too, but like
Yeah.
this might be my favorite Ty Dolla Sign's
Listen,
feature, and like this is
he has
counting all
the
of the
he
yay
has featuring
stuff.
Ty Dolla Sign as like as like the bit like everybody talks about. But I'm telling you, man, and I love Ty Dolla Sign. And Ty, if you listen to this, it's just an opinion. Uh, it's the features that are better for me than like a
Oh,
lot
well,
some of his old
100.
stuff.
That's not even a controversial like
It's
opinion.
just like even on featuring Ty Dolla Sign, I was like, oh, man, I wish that as many hits as he has as features, I wish that this album was like reflected that. I wish it was better. Now, LA, the song LA by Ty Dolla Sign is one of my favorite songs. Like it's like one of the songs that you could play to break me out of like the Vecna curse. You guys familiar with that like the
Not
trope from
please
Stranger
illuminate
Things?
us.
Yeah, just about a long story, like to kind of a quick synopsis of basically there's a villain in Stranger Things that kind of traps you in a kind of like a nightmare or whatever, and to everyone else you're like in a floating coma. But the
Kind
way
of like
they
sleep
figured out
paralysis.
how to get you out of this, yes, but you're like literally floating in the air, and in your mind you are literally in a hellscape. You're in
Ugh.
the not the underground, the upside down or whatever. What the thing that pulls that pulled the characters that would get stuck in it out is running
Running
up
up
that
the hill.
hill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yes, so that's why that song was so popular in that time period, is
Ah,
because they would put that on and they would play that for the characters, and that was like their guiding light to get. It was just that song over and over and over, that guiding light to get them out. And so I made a playlist called Breaking Kiss of Vecna. You know, for like disclaimer, if you guys are ever in like a Groundhog Day situation or like anything like that, you've turned invisible or whatever, and like no one believes you, you can call me. I will help you. Like you, so take advantage of it. But that's where if I'm
new
like
side
in a
hustle.
situation and you know, people are like, I don't know what to do, you'll know that like there's a playlist for you to be able to grab to like to try to like pull me out of that state. And LA, I say all that to say LA is one of the songs in that. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. And that's like one of his, you know, from that actual album. But but like other than that, it's features. So
The thing I want to say about Ty in that song is just like his voice, his vocals. Sometimes he'll like layer his vocals and it'll sound like gorgeous. But his voice both sounds like it can cut through a choir, but also it sounds like a choir at the same time. And
Mhm.
then adding the choir on top of his vocals is just heavenly.
It's
It's like,
angelic,
yeah, it's
so smooth.
yeah. If we're
What
talking
about
about
you,
the
Andrew?
yeah, if we're talking about the R&B kind of section of the album. My favorite is like of that section is Skate. I think is such.
Oh man,
I think this has real hit potential. I think this is
Yeah,
this is this is like not like us, but for Atlanta. Like this is like Kendrick defending,
sure.
Kendrick defends Atlanta, like saying from colonizers and stuff, and Jade is
Yeah,
saying the South has something to say. And this is our,
yeah.
it starts with you ain't ever been to Skate
You
Town.
ain't never
you
been
ain't
to
never been to Skate
Skate
skate.
Town.
Town.
And
Yeah.
like,
I will say I've been to two out of the I think five skating
Oh
rinks
yeah,
wow,
listed on this
okay,
song.
okay, okay,
you
okay. You
A-Town
have
got it.
represent. Shout out Kilo
Yeah.
Ali and this. No, I'm not real. Get real Atlanta on y'all real quick. But
yeah.
I ain't
I
never
feel
been.
you,
I ain't never
Andrew.
been.
Yeah, like he's referencing like like Zone 4, Camden Road. Like that part is like there's like in pop songs like there's oftentimes like a part of the song you want to like hear like and like when like Doctor what's his name Doctor Don.
Dr. Dot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Doctor
he
Don
like
like
and he embodies like because you hear JID say like that Kilo Ali flow at the top of that. I feel like Dr. Dot is the one who really embodies Kilo Ali the most on this song out of the three verses from like our rap melodic folks. And if y'all don't know about Kilo Ali, I'm just going to grab the mic and
do it.
say
Yeah.
like he was very much so a pioneer of this specific sound and one that I equate with, before I relocated from Chicago to Atlanta, like when I would visit Atlanta, his music was kind of like the soundtrack to those trips and just like this kind of up tempo, which I designated as skate music when I was a kid. Like this is skate music because you'd hear it at the roller rinks. But yeah, shout out Kilo Ali, very much so a hometown hero. Affiliated with Outkast and Organized Noise, and yeah, his album from like 1997 is the one that I would recommend for everyone to kind of like see the groundwork on like this sound. So yeah, shout out Kilo Ali.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's an enjoyable song, but if you want to do your homework, it's there. You can do
Yeah.
it. Like that's a great. I like songs like that. Yeah, and the not like us if at all. Like it even ends with freaky ass song, freaky ass beat.
I
Like,
also
Yeah.
love that Ciara
True.
says like I've never been to this one, but we could go.
that's really funny. Like that's not funny. And also
Very
bring back
inclusive.
Sierra. She's awesome. Like she's
Yes, I
great.
love Sierra.
Um,
I love Sierra
yeah.
in
Let's
all of the ways.
Yeah. Let's talk about some rapidy raps though. Like first of all, like my thought is like why I think this album's better than um the Forever Story is he kind of gets his rap zoomies out with the
Hmm.
prelex. Like
Hmm.
he is like here 4 songs where I'm going scoobity doobity doobity and like
Yeah.
like
And like almost could be like he probably could have done those four songs like back to back, like just let the
yeah.
beat change and like continue to just kind of rap it because that is how it felt, especially in the first one when it kind of switches up. There's two of them that kind of switch up on you. You're like, are we in a new song? No, it's the same song.
Mhm.
Um, where yeah, he really is just like on the beat, just like I mean, going for it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like it's just, again, it's so melodic the way that he raps, where it's just so fun to listen to, even if like I by the time like a concert would come by, I would not be able to rap along with him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, I like that he like the so he got the zoomies out and the first like the pre-lux, and then it kind of comes back at the end. He like in what's it called? On McAfee of Blue, he's kind of
Yep,
like
yep.
Karma. That Karma song is like he's kind of
Mhm.
going like fast again. Yeah, let's see, what's my favorite of these though? Like let's talk about Community. I think that's like the song like on this album
Mhm.
though. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I mean, shout out to the poetic bag at the front before we get into it. Like, I could use a little bit more JID poetry. Like,
Yep.
what do you say? The wind try whispering the warning. It's like, oh, I didn't know that you thought in this way. You know,
Mhm.
like I don't know if it's super president his prior works, like his sort of, I don't know, pockish sort of writing. Like, I
Mm.
want more of that. I want more, JID.
I really like his angry raps too. Like when
Oh
he's like
yeah.
locked
Really,
into
yeah,
that zone. He's so yeah, he's like Pac. Yeah, he's kind of doing that like
yeah,
energy. Like it's so good. But like the love the Bob the Builder line, obviously. It's like
yeah,
it's deep too. It's like about like how gentrificate like your people like black people are put into these ghettos and like put into like and like
yeah,
deal with benign neglect and like but then once white people realize, oh, this land has value, we got to kick them out. Like it's just
yeah,
like it's just like so I'll kill Bob the Builder, like anyway. And also just like the idea of like first of all it connects to that line like what about the children, but then like
right,
about like how shows like that or like shows like Paw Patrol or something like that, like kind of like put narratives in kids' minds
Propaganda.
early. Yeah, yeah, like early on, just
No
like
Paw
to
Patrol in
yeah.
this
accept
house.
to accept some of this stuff.
Well, he goes all the way through like, well, I put a bullet in Bob the fucking builder before they try to kick us out the building. What about the children? When they check the news channel, I get a similar feeling. But and I love the very Atlanta thing where it's like everything that he says, and I love how Spotify does it the way that he says it. So he's like, but still, like, you know what I mean? Like he puts out like,
The SH.
yeah, and the we gonna make it to heaven, high water or hell. But then
That's
he's
such a
like,
great line.
da da da, where he talks about he gets to a bar where he's like, haven't you seen Fox or whatever? Like he's talking about all the stuff that's going on. I mean, all across the board, like they'll go from one place into another where it's like, oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I did bring weight to the hood, like I did, da, 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 I did do this. Everybody's talking about like, oh, like you got to get out the apartments, it's ghetto. But he's like, it's crazy how we hopscotch. This was, I think, Push. He was like crazy how we hopscotch and double dutch danger between ADHD and all the pills that you gave us. How we supposed to process this anger? And then and it's like whenever they're talking about something real, it's always cool that that's like the part that like pulls through because he's like Elysian Al-Ghaib. I can see the silver lining, like, and he's talking, but really like he's really talking about like I mean, and it goes really well into G's as well because it's like, oh yeah, this is your perception of us, that is because of a system that you created. Like
Right.
the problem that we do have, we'll admit that it's there. Like all of us were trying to get out the hood, but the hood is created, and that's your problem. And so you know what I mean. And so it's like, yeah, all right, bet then I'll do something about it. Like you know what I mean. And then this is how I'm gonna attempt to help with the tools that I have. It's kind of what that whole song is about. And literally about community. And so such an interesting choice to have clips and push in there to talk about that because like yeah like of course these are two kind of role models to a lot of to the the West Coast community and the Atlanta community. You have Jid here and like we're talking about like Malice is talking about like truly where it's like this is our lived experience and it's still our lived experience whether it's positive or negative.
Right.
And then on top of that they're like but also this is the problem that you created. um and they do it so like playing lyrical jump rope. So yeah, it's I don't know.
It,
It's a really good song. And like and also just melodically the way that them all of them as rappers fit so well into a song where you could almost like you do a bit of tweaking, you can't tell who's rapping what. Like and
Right.
it's honestly kind of beautiful. So
And that Virginia to Georgia connection,
yeah,
that Georgia to
pipeline. Yeah,
Virginia
truly.
unity.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like first of all, I like the way Clips, by having them on the song, they're really good at simplifying big ideas and like kind of bringing it like down to earth and like pushing the lyrics through, like pushing the message through,
Yeah.
very simple lines and it sounds awesome too. But like the my ghetto's not your culture really die
Yeah.
here. That line just like that the first line of Malice's verse is just
It's,
it's such a great like me like who's outside of the culture, who's outside of like black culture, black art. Like sometimes I forget like sometimes I'm like yeah I forget that this isn't just entertainment. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I forget like and it's a
This
great
is their lived
reminder.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah, and like
exactly. Yeah.
but also like their like clips like play around with kayfabe a lot too. Like they're kind of
Hmm.
like they're still talking about like pushing cocaine even though they're like
Hmm.
way
Hmm.
past that point in their lives. So it's really great reminder. Like oh they're not only are they excellent at what they do, they're still tapped in with their roots and like where
Yeah.
they come from and want to help where they come from.
Yeah.
so
But that's that. I just wish it was clear. Like I wish it was clear when he's like, because he talks about it all the time. But even in this, where he's like, I saw a need and I wanted to fill the need, and then I brought white to the hood. I gentrified, like da da da. And but he's like, there's never a point in it where he's like,
Sorry.
and yeah, yeah, and I was
that
wrong
was
for
a
that, or I'm doing
mistake.
better now, and I've since then turned it around since like rap has changed my life, whatever. And so you know what I mean. And so it is that also like being a part of the culture be from me being a part of the culture I'm like yeah like and it also was incredibly detrimental to the community like you were just a part of the system that also pushed it into the community but also like hey like now that we know like you know what I mean how much it really damaged and ruined our community like we got to talk about how it ruined the community
Right,
but
right, right. Which
like
I think is present. I think it might not be coming from Pusha himself, but he's providing kind of that key like
yeah
perspective within it all, and it just ties into the ugly, and
yeah
also like a very strong tether to their album too. Like you just
yeah
ride this song on over to Let God Sort Them Out. You
right,
know
right,
what I
right. Just like a
mean?
little bit of a yeah.
Yeah, like MCU like stuff here. Like, yeah. Any other highlights before we move on to lowlights, and then we can circle around to songs we like in the Stratoration section.
I mean, there honestly are so many, but if I really like Work to talk about the zoomies and
Sure.
just like just how confident he is, but also like the ugly part that I pulled out of that song was like you couldn't even stop me if it were 1955 and I'm on 85 doing 95 in a
Come on.
1952 Dodge. It's like them's
Yeah.
is lynching
Come
times. Like
on.
I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
despite
yeah.
the lynchings, I'm fucking
Yeah.
I'm zooming.
Mm.
And
I'm
also
zooming
it's
and
a
I'm
bar.
zooming.
Like
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And he says, and I just appreciate he nodded to like why the song came out the way it did. He said something like, "I'm in a bad mood and I'm taking it out on my work,"
Mm-hmm.
and he's just like, "Oh, okay, that's why this song is so lively. Like, not only are you giving us this element, you're kind of letting us into the writing process, and it's just it goes through so many gears too, and just like kind of what we talked about a little earlier and on the Forever Story episode about the color that JID adds to these like lines. It's like that you don't want to talk about Grinder, like that, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And towards the end is so cool and just makes it that much more captivating. So yeah, Work is a banger. That is, whether it's I
Yeah.
think that's like a gym, playlist track, or just like hitting the highway, speeding, like doing that 85 or whatever. Yeah, Work is straight up banger.
Yeah, those first couple songs all the way through like probably through VCRs are like very, very like, yeah, you want a JID rap album, like this is that. And I just love Vince Staples. So like anytime that he
Yeah.
surprised, like because I also was just listening to it, like not looking at whatever songs it was. So when his voice popped up, I was like, oh, it was like another surprise. And that was really, really nice too. And it's really cool. Talk about like that kind of mixing and that cipher kind of energy where you set up for the next person. This is
Mm-hmm.
one of those. I love a good like setup for you to do the next bar. And honestly, if the whole
Yeah.
song was that, where they were just going back and forth with
Yeah.
JID and Vince Staples, like that would have been a really nice treat. But the song itself was still a treat. And so, and like, and then on K Word, first of all, I'd never heard of Pastor Troy before. So I was like waiting
FATL.
to hear that it was, I was waiting for it to be like a clip from one of these sermons, like it was before. And then this dude, this rapper, and I was like, Pastor Troy? It's like, what you mean? What you mean? Okay, cool. It's just a rap name. Okay, cool, cool, cool. It's not, somebody's pastor on the song. But that little like, I love the little switch up where he's like, yeah, you, hey, me comes for to have another baby. Like, like I love that. Like when they were on the Zoom meeting and he's like, "We're about to get paid," and it's like does the weird little like I love a little trick like that. So yeah, I feel you on that same kind of because like that's just even if the bars like weren't and then also the bars are good but even the bars were just good like those little points are so catchy and they pull me back in if I'm like riding the subway and I'm getting a lot of like word vomit that from the rappers all across the board on this because he's got a lot of good rappers on this so
Mm. Yeah, I love the way again, like the Vince Staples song. I love the way they're competing with each other, but they're still setting each other up too. Like
yeah
that's such
yeah
a I'm not sabotaging you. Like with
yeah it's like the setup for the start
exactly, yeah,
yeah
yeah, and it's yeah, and like Vince got a verse of the year, got a verse of the year with that. Like it's so
yeah
good. It's
Definitely. Just I feel like we, with thinking about all of the releases and like this sort of competition for hip hop staking its claim as a relevant uh, art form, and despite the idea of sales, like we're still here to do like the fundamentals. It VCR is the upper echelon. Kind of,
mm,
I feel like I've used that on this show a couple of times, but it just is so, I don't know, like gratifying to hear
hmm
rappers at this level doing what they're doing. And like
hmm
Andrew said, like setting that alley oop in that stage, it feels like a gift
yeah
to hear
yeah
VCR.
yeah, like just lowlights. Let's talk about lowlights real quickly. Like I think the consensus for some people is like people don't like the R&B section and
mm,
like they think it picks up at the end. I think it like drags a little at the end. It's a little like I don't know if Oh Blue justifies the 6 minutes. I think it's
sure
I love the Maraba feature. I think it's so beautiful. The
hmm
the like heaven was hell and vice versa. A verse of vices, riding a curse at the grind of an author, defining purpose is so
hmm
beautiful. There's some really beautiful things. Like K word gets a little draggy too. Like
yeah
that the Pastor Troy and like the Baby Kia kind of do the same thing functionally on the album,
hmm
just like repeating the chorus with an aggressive energy. I felt like it was a little redundant. And I also just felt like No Boo. I think it's a cool song. I think it's cute. But it
sure
feels too small for what he's trying to communicate with this album. Like it's just
yeah
like this personal grievance about just like, oh no, like this girl, like you know keeps choosing guys who are not me, but I'm me. Like it's
yeah
like,
sure
oh, like it feels like too small for like the
yeah
grand scope of what he's trying to communicate. But I think I like the Spanish at the end. I think, um, I like that he like him and Jesse Reyes like just like really worked hard to
yeah
get the Spanish right at the end. I thought that was
Yeah.
cute. Yeah.
I had G's as a low light.
okay yeah
Oh, Nar.
Yeah, and I
I
don't
feel
know.
that
It feels a little like too like typical. I don't know. It just didn't move me like some of these songs did. Like some
I
were
feel that
urgent or some were super smooth. G's just felt a little bit of a, I don't know, just typical rap track. That might be like
Yeah.
too harsh. But and then there's like that one line that this might be a nitpick. He's like, I ain't tripping because I know who's responsible. It's the motherfuckers that be saying we too thugged out. There are certain things that happen where I'm like, then turn that lens outward, then like antagonize those people who are
Sure.
making that claim. I
That could
think
have been like a
it's
second verse you're thinking, and then a
Yeah,
third verse, like really
like-
getting them.
Yeah, because that's like, I mean, the idea, the consensus of it was at the end of the track. Like, it was like, here's all the things that do kind of make us thugged out, and it's like, but the problem is the people who say that we're too thugged out. Yeah, so, yeah.
it's like this is where he needs to go off the rails on
Off
like
the rails. Yeah,
you know, whomever. We know who, but you know, pick your who, JID, and let us hear it. But,
Yeah.
a missed opportunity, I think, personally.
The beginning of that beat reminds me of the XXX Tentacion, like "Look at Me" song, and then there's also like the Schoolboy Q, "Gangsta, Gangsta, Gangsta," like kind of like
Sure,
energy
sure.
in there too. So
Two songs that are better than that.
that's so funny. Yeah, it's funny because earlier I said that like it was a no skip album for me, and it is. But I do like, as far as least favorites go, what's so funny is that all the ones that you guys mentioned are also the ones for me. Like, if I had to skip, or if I'm going to like put it in other playlists, I probably wouldn't add those to others. So same thing. Like, Nobu wasn't as strong for me. K Word wasn't as strong for me, even though I know I was just like talking about how I like that little cadence. But honestly, as far as Pastor Troy's verse, it really was that cadence part that I really liked the most of that verse. And then G's was the first time on the album. So all the way through, G's was the first time on the album where I was like, I probably started to like either get distracted or lose, like, you know, whatever, like, full interest, especially on the first listen through. The second listen through, it was a little bit more acceptable. Not acceptable, but like to take it in with the whole thing. Um, and so yeah, I think it was those same ones for me. If it was one over the other, it's maybe Nobu was like the weakest one for me, just because it's not like I don't want like rappers and everyone to talk about like all of their experiences across the board. But with mostly the rest of the album being like, I don't know, some kind of experience from like what feels like everyday life. It was like, oh, and here's my classic, I have to do a song about like it, either in the vein of like, you either have your song in the vein of like how love has wronged you, or how love is like doing you right. In one of these, in an R&B type of like scenario on rap albums, and they're usually the least interesting when that's not what the whole album is about. So that, and I really do like Jesse Reyes, but it's one of those things where like, okay, like I think that Bruno Mars is a really talented singer and performer, but I don't really listen to Bruno Mars's music like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, a huge fan of, like, you know, there are a lot of other artists that I
Yeah,
can name
yeah,
as
I
an
know what you
example
mean.
for that. But like similar to with that for Jessie Reyes, where like a lot of the stuff that she's on just doesn't always hit for me. And so it's like kind of easy for me to fall back into a passable song for me. Um, but I love Jessie Reyes
Yeah.
as a whole, in case she ever listens to this.
I'm a little less down on Nobu. I don't know. It's smooth. I think I really like this R&B section. I didn't realize the internet. I deliberately kind of steered clear of like the internet chatter around this, so I
Yeah,
didn't realize folks
I haven't
were
looked at any of the internet
dogging the
chatter,
R&B
so.
section. But I particularly like the give and take that they have, like how
When they're singing
like
together,
certain
I really
phrases
like
hang
that,
on
yeah.
each other, and then they
Yeah.
pick it up, and then now
The Spanish at the end.
the
is very cool, yeah.
moving like you don't know where the fuck to find me. It's like so
Yeah.
like indicting that line. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's just me.
It's also just like you're talking about like your community, and you're talking about this, and the first line is like, "Why did I take you to Nobu just to hear about your old boo?" Like, this is not that important in the grand scheme of what you're kind
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, like I think another place for this song would, I think like Wholeheartedly and Skate going together really works, and then because it's about like a bigger, you know, wholeheartedly is about brotherhood. Like skate is about like Atlanta, like your community and such,
Hmm.
and like joy and such. So I think I also just like she might lease me the puss. I'm like, ooh, gross. I'm just like,
Ugh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, because it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, this is very rappy. Like it's very rappy to talk about love or women in this way. So it's like, as well as far as like everything else can feel kind of very original, it's very rappy to be like, it's not just that she like, picks someone else over me, but like she picks someone else over me, the rapper.
mm.
I'm the rapper. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's very I don't know, tropey. But again, I haven't skipped that song in like the 4 times I listened to
I like it. I do
the whole
like it.
album.
Yeah.
So
I guess let's talk about the last song, just like the For Keeps. I thought this beautiful, like the sunrise at the end of like a hard night battling your demons and depression and stuff, and
mhm.
just like a song about gratitude, a song about focusing in on what really, really matters. I think just like your real fans, like people who really love what you have to say, and that you are so blessed to get to do what you love to do. Yeah, like I think like it starts with the line about record execs. Like fans are acting like record execs, like they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Mhm.
And then like this is how I stay sane in this, like as a musician in this world that in a music industry that's so broken. Like I'm gonna focus on my real fans, the people the people's lives I've changed, how I've lifted my family out of poverty, like with my arts and
Yeah.
such, and like how I made this happen and how I got J. Cole to like, love and respect me and put me on his label and such. Like it's great. It's like and then like ending with his son. It's just like such a beautiful thing. It's
Yeah.
like it's a great reminder for me as like an artist where I'm like I do episodes and I feel very proud of it. And then I look at the numbers and I feel like damn, like I'm fucking failing at this. And then like, but why I'm doing it in the first place is these conversations. Why I'm doing it is like to the connection and like an opportunity to connect with people like Ben. Like just like what I don't I wouldn't like. I would feel less comfortable going like, "Hey Ben, do you want to hang out over Zoom?"
Yeah,
Just
right,
like
right, right,
it's like I feel like less
right.
comfortable
Right,
doing
so
that
play
than like
Jack of all
having a
trades.
context to like share and connect and like
Yeah.
what a blessing, like just like what a blessing it is to get 10 clicks on a track and what a blessing it is to be able to feed your family and have a son. Like that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Not to mention For Keeps, man. This is motherfucking hip hop baby. This shit sounds like it's straight off the Dynasty, Jay-Z, early Rockefeller era. It's just so. This is quintessential hip hop in the best way. And it also showcases why, Ben, I think he can sit in that top 5 of yours without
Mhm.
question. Because, like, you know, the ability to harken back to an era and deliver on it and not sound tired and honestly sound like, oh man, he's doing this in a way that reminds me of why I love this shit. It's
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
love hip hop. I love rap. It's a vessel to showcase gratitude, like in this song, or it's a vessel for like your personal thoughts. It's just, I don't know. There's something about it that is just so nice and smooth, and yeah, just love the production on
Yeah.
For Keeps. Just such a good track to end on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those songs that I always love I love a song where it's like, it reminds you that like the person is a person, first of
Yeah.
all, and that like there's a bit of like a hope story to it where he's talking about like writing raps on the back of dominoes, writing on the back of a timesheet, like the type of thing where it's like it really humanizes the person and also reminds you that like these people also made it out of like the same circumstances that you're living in or that you're doing.
Right.
um and so, and also that he's like, it's so funny because it's like one of those things where it's like, all right, you can listen to JID and realize, yeah, he's dedicated to this because of how he can slip into this and like just really rap about it. But then also, while he's rapping about being dedicated to this, like I can damn near recite every word bar for bar, like you know what I mean? Like he's like, He's yeah, that's right. Like he's he's not a freshman anymore. This man is really about it. And it's cool because like I've only heard clips of interviews for this album, but I remember there's a Breakfast Club interview where he's talking about like, I'm not trying to I'm not going to be like everyone's favorite rapper. Like I'm gonna make the music for who I make it for. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be that. I'm not trying to be the everyman's rapper. And what's always really like nice about that is when you listen to it and you're like, yeah, there's a very clear touch on this that is very uniquely JID, and also the the music is good enough for me to be able to play for everyone. I don't have to be like,
Mhm.
hey, here's this niche rapper. You know what I mean? Like it's I just be like, yeah, this is JID. Like here's some rap that we're gonna play, and I can mix some JID songs up in there. And hey, listen, he may be in my top five, but to his kids, he's got the best bars in the world.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like my favorite line is critics nitpick to the core, but as long as my core get it, then fuck them easy. Like that's
yeah.
so
And you can
beautiful.
tell like he means that. Like, you know what I mean? Like he means that. So yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, Love for Keeps is a very good butt end
Closer. Yeah.
to a good album.
Yeah, I don't listen to that new song that came out like that that extra song. I just think this is such a perfect ending to that
I didn't
album.
even know there was one.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, let's go through final thoughts and ratings. The way this works is we'll rate this album out of 10, the fun metric at the end. Uh, yeah, who anyone else like to go first, I guess?
I'll go to get it out of the way. Um, I think on the last episode, we were kind of like, does Jid have a classic? And I think my take was like, this next one will show us where he sits. And man, to be completely honest, I'm not entirely sure that he's like piercing that next level of glass ceiling for like I
Middle
don't know,
class. Yeah.
middle class or whatever. He still feels a little scrappy to me. Where, and I did mention this a little bit on the Forever Story episode, but to me, the Never Story had a packaging that told me something like the promise of who JID would be. And
Mm.
since I've kind of just been like, one day he'll kind of reach that
Mm.
plateau
I
or
get that.
whatever.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I still think that this album is worth anybody's time. I still think he's a master of the craft. I just am looking for that that packaging. Like maybe he should lock in with a singular producer. I want to hear
There's
that
the Metro
JID.
album potentially coming out. That might be
No,
it. Like,
I don't want to
Okay.
hear the Metro album.
Really?
I don't. I really
Really?
don't. It's like, and I understand it. That's another sort of like Rust Belt, Bible Belt connection. But I need him to like lock in elsewhere. And I don't want to be the one to say who, but there's like a packaging that I think that I'm missing from JID right now. But all that to say, I enjoy this album. And I'm gonna give it a 8 JJ Fishes,
oh yeah.
which the Fly God mentioned in the first song, out of 10.
I love
Nice.
I enjoyed JJ Fishes. Anyways, yeah, I think like uh yeah, and if we're talking about like the comparison between Chance versus Jid, what's better? Having 4 to 5 8 out of 10s in a row, or having like maybe some albums that are higher, but then having what's considered like a zero, what's considered like
Sure,
a
sure.
one or a two or something like that. Like what's like the and
That
like
one.
yeah, like it's and I love both of them. I think I personally love Chance more, but like Chance speaks to me more as a Chicago person and like someone who like I remember where I was when I listened to Coloring Book and Acid Rap and Surf and such. I remember those, so like that's really hard to like kind of disentangle from. But I bet Jid, I know Jid is that for people. I know Jid is that for people. I know he really means a lot to people, and this is another 8 out of 10 album. Like this is like but that's really special. Like that's and if you just like just like on a sports stats level, if you get another 8 out of 10 after this, I'm like, hey, you're one of the greats. Like that's amazing.
Hall
Like
of Famer.
yeah. Like so but yeah, I really love what he's saying. I think the the societal commentary and like the wading through the societal and like ethical murkiness in this album is fascinating, and I like that it ends with like this uplifting, hopeful arc while also understanding the darkness and depravity of the world, and the bittersweetness of the black experience and such. So I think it's fantastic. I'm gonna give it 8 freaky ass beats out of 10. So yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is this was the first time I listened to it, I was like, this is like a 7.5, and then the very last time I listened to it, I was like, no, this is an 8 out of 10 for sure. So I give it 8
Lisa
Lysion
Al
Algaibs, Lysion Algaibs out of 10 for me. Yeah, again, just like, one of those things where like I love music. Very rarely do I come across something where I will listen to an entire album all the way through, and this is one of those for me. And while like, not the perfect album just because it's hard for me to name a rap album a perfect album. It really has to be that for me. This is the only reason why. But like this comes close as like a good rap album that I would put in like the Rolodex of rap albums that I can play from start to finish in just a list of rap albums. So yeah, this is a solid 8 out of 10 for me.
I could also give it like 4 Skate Town locations, but one I didn't visit. So like
Okay, sure. Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
still
for,
8.
Looking at you,
like
Morrow, Georgia.
Too far. It's
6 bullets for Bob the Builder, and that's all
yeah.
of the bullets in the chamber. Like for
Uh,
5 bullets out of 6. So I mean, like,
yeah, well, thank you so much, Ben, for like showing up. Like, yeah, please come back. Like, this is so fun. Like, it was so fun to like meet you in this context and like like yeah, come back anytime. Like, talk about whatever you want.
yeah,
Anything you'd like to plug, like your social
yeah.
medias, anything like
Hey,
that?
if you're in California, come and say hello. That's the main thing. No, no. No, I
Just
mean, I
in the
really, well,
state of
my
California.
Yeah, the state of California. Yeah, that's right. Then drive. If you're in the state of California, then get over to K-Town. That's how. No, I mean my handle on Instagram is the freshest of princes. It's that everywhere I think, but Twitter probably. I think Twitter it's like the Funk Soul Brother or something like that. But I don't use Twitter as much. I'm on Instagram and TikTok, though I haven't posted on TikTok in a bit, but I'm unemployed and have free time, so I might start doing that again. And yeah, if you follow me in those places, then you'll see if anything like important or big comes up. Hopefully the next time I'm like, yeah, I'm like plugging this TV show or whatever. Keep an eye out, I guess, on the new season of Euphoria. I did some background work on that, and I was like, oh.
Wow.
So
Wow.
my face popped up.
Nice.
I didn't have anything to say, but if you watch Euphoria,
Yeah.
and they keep the like stuff with me in it, then you'll see me on TV at least.
Wow.
But yeah, mainly that. The freshest of princes.
Wow. Confirmation that they are filming a season of Euphoria.
Oh
This is
yes, that's right. They are
incredible.
mid filming, and that's not a secret. So
Okay,
I can
okay.
officially say that I think without being in trouble. But I won't spoil like because the seeing one of the things that happens when you're like a day player or like an extra on one of these things is that like if you're in it like if you're in something important, then it's a spoiler for the show. And where I was a spoiler for the show.
Wow.
So we'll see how that comes out.
TBD.
But yeah.
Thank you so much, Ben. You can follow me at Andrew Ambrose Lee on all platforms, John at John Butts is here on all platforms, Stanley at Snap a Send on all platforms. Check out our Patreon show. I've been meaning to watch that, where we watch movie musicals primarily. And
Ooh.
yeah, Stephanie Senior like co-hosts that show. And yeah, like Ben, any final words? Any final thoughts?
That's actually so funny because I don't watch musical movies unless someone else makes me watch them. So that's actually so
Love
funny
it.
because because yeah, I'd hop on one of those too.
Yeah, totally.
No, thanks so much for having me and doing this. I love talking about stuff that I like, but I also love talking about stuff that other people like. So it's really cool when I get to talk to other people about what they like and it's the same as me. So thanks
Yeah.
so much for having me.
Yeah. Look. Hey, thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day. Scoobity doobity doobity. All right, the end.